In today's video, we will be discussing how to break the addiction of negative thinking. And by the end of this video, you will know the steps that it takes to detach from these thoughts that no longer serve you so that you can transform your state of being. What's up, everyone? My name is Morsi, and if you're new to this channel is all about creating your own reality through your spiritual awakening process. And if you find that the words in this video resonate with you, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below. Now, in today's video, I will be sharing some thoughts of what I've learned from Dr. Joe Dispenza's book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Now, this book awakened me to how thoughts can affect my body, affect the chemistry in my brain, so that I'm able to break away from thoughts that no longer serve me and create a new state of being so that I can create the reality that I desire. Now, when it comes to creating your own reality, it's important to know that your thoughts and your beliefs create your reality. Your thoughts and beliefs shape and form what you experience. So when it comes to this negative thinking, whatever it is that we're focusing on, whatever the thought is that we're focusing on, it ends up being our reality. And this is because we begin to vibrate at the same frequency of that thought. So we shift to the reality where that exists. But why is it that we continue this loop? Why is it that we keep running back to these same negative thoughts, creating the same feelings, the same emotions, the same actions that just create the same experience? Why is it that we can't get out of this loop of negative thinking? And this is because we find comfort in it. It's a familiar reality in this negative thinking. When you think about experience in the past, because that's where much of our negative thinking comes from. It comes from experiences in the past. Experiences from listening to how people identify who we are rather than us identifying who we are. Experiences that have made us feel as though we are less than. Experiences making us feel as though we are not worthy or not deserving. All of these things, through experience, it creates an emotion. So what happens is when you have an experience, that experience creates an emotional charge. And then you begin to think about that experience. And then when you think about that experience, it creates a memory. When it creates a memory, it creates an emotion. And now this emotion is something that the body becomes to memorize. So what happens is the thought, the memory, and the emotion all become one, and the body memorizes this emotion. Now, when the body memorizes this emotion, that means that it's now in your subconscious. It's now something that is automatic. It's now something that your body has more control of than your conscious mind. It's just going, and you are unaware of how you are reacting to things, how you are affecting yourself, and how you are affecting the people around you. And so many times, even when I think about my past and when I did not understand why I was thinking negative thoughts, I noticed that in these negative thoughts, it became a part of how I identified myself. We don't know this, but much of our problems and challenges, we identify ourselves with that. And when you think about it, when you don't have that challenge anymore, when you don't have that problem, when you try to break away from that low frequency vibration, you don't really know who you are. Because it's this habit of identifying with this emotion, identifying with this challenge, identifying with this low frequency emotion, and we're stuck, and we're just like, who am I then without this problem? What do I think and how do I feel? Well, in order to break the addiction to this negative thought, it takes bringing this into the conscious mind. Because the reason why it's an addiction, the reason why it's there and the body has been conditioned to it is because it's in the subconscious. So you do this by observing your thoughts. When you observe your thoughts, you give yourself a chance to make a choice about this feeling. Now, what I mean by observing your thoughts is to watch it without judging it. So when maybe you're people watching and you're observing, you're just watching what the people are doing, not necessarily what they may or may not be feeling. You're watching what they're doing. So for example, let's say you're watching someone and they laughed, right? Laughing does not necessarily mean that they think something's funny. They might be nervous, and that may be a reason, that may be a way to comfort themselves in a situation. So the idea is just to observe the thought, just like you would observe a person's behavior. Observe the thought and notice this. Notice that you are more the observer than the thinker, that there's actually two of you. Eckhart Tolle's beautiful quotes and much of what he teaches is to understand that you are the observer. And when you understand that you are the observer, you disconnect from that emotion. One technique that I do very often is when I'm feeling this feeling of discomfort, I choose to feel the emotion. You feel it. You let it go through you and out of you, but you do not give it a story. Because the moment you give it a story is the moment you connect with it, the moment you identify with it, and the moment that it intensifies. So it's important, right? When you think about a craving, when you think about an addiction, if you try to deny that to yourself, if you try to ignore it and say, I don't need it, and you try to deny that feeling, it creates resistance. It creates inner conflict. Let's say you're having a craving for chocolate and you're just like, nah, I'm not gonna eat the chocolate. I don't want it. Instead of allowing yourself to have some, what you end up doing is binging on it later on. So when it comes to emotions, allow yourself to feel it. Become the observer. So you allow your body to feel the feeling that it wants to feel, but now you have the opportunity to change how you think of it. Now you have the opportunity to choose your state of being, because your state of being is the way you think, the way you act, and the way you feel. So it's important to pay attention to the way we think. Give yourself the chance to choose it now that it's in your conscious mind. Give yourself the chance to choose what you feel about the situation. So the idea is to bring the feeling into the conscious mind so that you can break routine. Because anything that is routine is in the subconscious. Anything that is routine, think about a day when you're just at work and you have the same routine, it's your body noticing this more than your conscious mind. When I think about how I put my passcode into my iPhone, many times I'm not even thinking. I just literally put the digits in and I open the phone. So it's the idea that neurons that fire together wire together. So if you can unfire and unwire this old way of thinking, this old habit, so that you can create a new habit, then that means that you are breaking the routine. And you are taking this out of your subconscious and giving yourself the chance to choose your reality, to choose how you would like to react. So you're not automatically reacting to something. You're not automatically and unconsciously aware to the way you're thinking. So once this is in your conscious mind, and this is something that I do when I meditate. That's why meditation is incredibly important, and it's a huge part of my life. And so when you are working on unfiring and unwiring these old ways of thinking, what you're doing is now you're thinking about who is it that you do not want to be. Many times what I do is I think about a scenario where I react in a way that best serves me, that uses up the least amount of energy, where I am breaking away from my own ego, breaking away from my false self, and being closer to it is that I truly am. I actually have a video about your true self and your false self, and I will put the link right here in this corner so you can check it out. So you know and you are aware and can recognize who it is that you would like to be. So as you are consciously thinking of who you don't want to be, you're unfiring and you're unwiring, allowing yourself to create new circuitry in your brain. And when you do that, now you're also going to think about who it is that you want to be. And when you create who it is that you want to be, you are now firing and wiring new neurons. You're creating a new circuitry. right? That's the whole idea of being able to change your state of being, is being consciously aware. Now, in my experience, I have found that when I find myself in that habit of negative thinking, the mere fact that I know exactly what to do in order to unfire and unwire, it makes me a lot calmer. It makes me very relaxed. And even if I find myself breaking back into old habit, I give myself a break. Because sometimes, these things, they're so unconscious, they're so automatic, we don't notice it. So it's important that during this process of breaking the addiction to negative thinking, that you give yourself a break. If something skips past you, give yourself a break. It's okay. You're doing the best you can. But just know that whenever it is in your conscious awareness, you have a choice. And it is your choice to take responsibility. It's this idea of not being a victim to your life. The idea of being a victim means that you feel that you have little influence over your environment. It means that you feel as though things are happening to you, rather than the fact that your thought is creating your experience. Taking responsibility is understanding that you control the situation. It's understanding that as long as you are creating thoughts that serve you, you are able to handle the experience in the way that it should happen. You are able to handle the experience and think thoughts that serve you best. It's the idea of not identifying with your external environment, with choosing who it is that you are. I have another video on 3 things to detach from in order to raise your vibrational frequency, and I'll put that link right here in the corner. I noticed that in my experience, the best time for me to break that addiction to negative thinking is when I have that raised vibration. Because when my vibrations are raised, I'm more open-minded and I'm more open to receiving solutions. Because when I'm in this just low frequency vibration, when negative thoughts are taking over me, I'm not listening. I'm just like complaining, I'm not willing to. So what I do is I let it be there. I let that emotion be there, and I don't give it a story, and I just let it go. Because the moment it's out of me, I have that choice to raise my vibration. I have that opportunity to give myself the chance to see the bigger picture so I can change my perspective, so that I know that I have all the influence I choose to have on my experience, because I can choose my thoughts. You are not your thoughts. Thoughts are energy. It's energy that you choose to absorb, whether it's consciously or unconsciously. So you can choose whether or not, once you're consciously aware, you can choose whether or not you want that thought to be a part of your state of being. And once you understand who your true self is versus your false self, that'll lead you in a way to ascending along your own spiritual awakening process. Now, this is everything that I think about when I'm going through things. And this is why I wanted to share it with you today. Share with you the steps that I take and how I was able to better understand it by understanding the way it affects my body. Just know that knowledge is power. No one can take away your knowledge. They can take away physical things in your environment, but no one can take away your knowledge. I like to tell myself this all the time. I'm not just a mere human being living in a mere material world. I am an infinite spiritual being, and my thoughts are my greatest superpower. My thoughts are the reason why I am where I am. My thoughts are the reason why I'm growing, while I'm learning. My thoughts are the reason why I'm awakened to this world. So think about your thoughts. Observing your thoughts, it's incredibly important. And anytime you bring something to your conscious awareness, that is your time to make the choice to change your state of being. Remember that you have the power. You have the control. You are not a victim to this life. The challenges that you face, they are all specifically made for you for the betterment of your own soul's destiny. So choose to greet these setbacks with joy. When you find yourself in frustration, take that as an opportunity. That's what happens with me. When I find myself in a situation that is frustrating me, I bring myself to the present moment, because this is the best practice for me to break the addiction to negative thinking. The moment that I'm aware that I'm frustrated, I can bring that to my conscious awareness, change the way I perceive the situation, unwire, change the circuitry in my brain, and then create a new me, a new state of being. Repetition is everything. The more you do it over and over again, that is when your body memorizes it more than your conscious mind. That's the idea, right? Because with our negative thinking, our body understands it more than our conscious mind. So if we bring that to our subconscious, we change that and then put it back into our subconscious, into thoughts that serve us, that is exactly what it is that we want to do to change our state of being. So I hope that this video resonated with you. And if it did and you took something out of it, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below. And also, be sure to check out these videos right here. These will also be helpful in helping you understand how to create your own reality. My name is Morsi, and until next time, peace.